Hello, I'm Felicia Donna Harper of Xavier's Treats. This is our page, The Harpers, and it goes through our adoption journey. And tonight was not a good night. I arrived home. It was a simple request. I had anticipated on running back out to go and pick up Dylan's Christmas gift. But Devon had decided that he was going to sleep. He made an announcement he's going to sleep on the sofa. And I'm like, no, sir. You're going to sleep in your room. Well, my back hurt. I'm not sleeping on that floor. I said, you chose not to buy a bed. So since the last time we've been on, Devon has been back in this house. That was the 9th time. So when I called him on the phone prior to coming walking in the door, and the reason I walked in the door is because when I spoke to him on the phone, I said he had to go upstairs to his room, and he said he wasn't, and he hung the phone up on me. So I put the car in park and walked in the house and said, oh, no, you don't get to hang up on me. And I said, you're going to go upstairs. And it became a production. And I'm like, well, you can leave. Get out. Because, one, you're not going to tell me what you're not going to do in my space. You chose not to buy a bed. You chose to buy fingernails. You chose to buy hair weave. You chose to buy dresses. These are the things you chose to do. And so because your back hurts because you're sleeping on the floor, I was done. When I let him in, I said, I will not do anything for you. Now, mind you, he only paid 1 month's rent. So he didn't pay last month's rent. Nope. Let me see. This month's rent, and he still owes me $130 from last month's rent. So the conversation that was had is that if your rent is not caught up by the 30th of the month, don't pay December's rent because I'm going to evict you January 3rd. So I didn't even talk to him anymore about the fact that he owed rent because I had already made up in my mind he had to go. Because it's only so much that you can tolerate with, that you can deal with. It's only so far that you can help somebody with mental illness before you get sucked down yourself. And that's the reality right now. My little son was crying so hard because he was crying for his brother, not wanting the police to come and hurt him. Because when I tell him he had to go, he went and got a butcher knife out the kitchen and he began to stab up things. He stabbed pictures on the wall, stabbed the walls, stabbed the doors, stood there, said he was going to kill himself. He going to cut. We have dealt with some trauma tonight. And I know it's real. And I'm not going to try to tiptoe around it and say, oh, we okay. I'm not okay because the older I get, the more it affects me. It affects me in my body. So, I'm checking on my kids like, are you okay? And even though they are young adults, my humans, it's trauma. They watch their brother traumatize us. And then in fear that he may slit his wrist or harm me, that was the consensus, that he may harm me. And he's wielding this butcher knife. And I'm calling the police, telling them. It took them an hour. And the only reason they came is because he called. I told him to call the crisis hotline. I stood on the outside of the storm door. And I was trying to talk to him. And I was saying, please just put the butcher knife down. I don't want you to harm yourself. I said, can you see your brother is crying because he's afraid that if the police come and you won't put that butcher knife down, that they are going to kill you. And I was bracing myself that this boy may kill himself, or they may kill my child, and I will be standing witness to that. It's trauma. I just have to call it what it is. And I'm afraid right now that Deja may go into crisis. That this may trigger something in her. How much are you supposed to tolerate? That is the question. I can't take him back, and I've sat on this thing and cried and said I'm not going to take him back. And the thing is, we're in a state where we have no family. But even if he was with family, no one could tolerate the insanity that is Devon. Because the consensus that I got this time is that in the midst of having mental illness, which I am not using as an excuse, he want to use you. And that I can't tolerate. I can put up with a lot of stuff, but what you're not going to do is use me. You're not going to use me. And so Deja said to me, Mommy, it's okay to cry. And it's not even that. I'm so tired. Excuse me. It's just that when the police was taking him, they said, don't you want to come to the hospital? I said, absolutely not. So she said, may I ask why? I said, he's an adult. She said, well, don't you want to petition the court? No. I know how many hours it takes to sit in that emergency room, and I will not sit there in support of him on this. See, because he has done this, and I have sat in the emergency room. The person who had been traumatized sat there supporting him. And you may say, oh, well, you're supposed... No. Because when do I get to deal with the trauma that he has inflicted upon my family? So what I have done all these years is push that trauma to the side to deal with him, to make sure he good. Never dealing with me or Dylan. So I'm checking in tonight. I'm like, Dylan, are you okay? Deja, are you okay? Because I don't want this to trigger her. And I'm just like, I've been doing a lot of breathing. Because no one really knows what it is like unless you lived in his house. And it's like a little ticking time bomb every time we accept him back in. It's like, when is it going to go? When is it going to go? And it's just... And you would think because he was homeless before, he would have came back grateful and doing everything he need to do to have a roof over his head. But I have to stop worrying about the fact that he doesn't have a roof over his head, because the conversations that have been had while he was back in the house about wants and needs and taking care of your needs. Your needs is to keep a roof over your head. Your needs are you need a bed to sleep in. He destroyed 2 beds. So why would I buy another one? Why? You got a roof over your head. If you want a bed, you'll buy it. But he thought it was more prudent to get full sets of nails, to get braids. Braids ain't cheap. He's got braids multiple times. Wigs, women's clothing, hanging out with his friends. Straight face line, he get paid, he don't come in, ask him where my rent money. Oh, I lost it. He ain't lose that money. No, he didn't. He spent it with his friends. And then he come where he needs shelter. So he didn't understand wants and needs. So it was inevitable we were going to end up back here. I was just praying we can get through the holidays and make it to January. Oh, but we're here now. And the exhaustion that I feel in my body and in my mind. I'm like, we got 4 more days of work until it's till it's Thanksgiving. It's Thursday and Friday, Monday and Tuesday. Then it's Thanksgiving break. I think I'm going to stay home tomorrow and I'll go on Friday because I know payroll has to go in on Friday. Because I need to do some self-care. And to push through this, get up in the morning and go to work and deal with other stuff and not deal with me is not wise. And I need to deal with me. I need to check in on me. Like, how do I feel about what just happened? See, because it's not over. Because his stuff is still in the house. So I need to go to sleep, get up, gather his things because he's going to need his things. He's going to need his things. Where he's going, I don't know. But he didn't think about that when he did. He just... And I know you say, oh, he's not a rational mind. He has mental illness. But if he would have stabbed us, would it be O then? If he would have cut his own wrist and killed himself, would it have been O then? We should not be in our home and live in fear. Locking bedroom doors while you sleep in the event you don't know he going to walk through the house and walk in and try to harm you, because that's how I have been living. Every time, locking myself in my room, afraid on one hand that he may come and harm me. On the other hand, if something happened to me, how my kids know because I'm up in my room with the door locked. You shouldn't live like this. This is not how you're supposed to live. It's just a two-edged sword of mental illness. But before I sink, I got to save myself and save those who I can save. This is... I don't even know what to say. So I was exhausted mentally and physically. I can just keep saying I'm physically and mentally drained, exhausted, tired. Thank you for coming over to our channel. I will be posting more. My name is Felicia Dawn Harper, owner of Xavier's Treats. Signing out. Be blessed. Stay safe. Peace.